redeveloping Michigan's communities through successful joint initiatives that have included blight elimination and neighborhood stabilization programs. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Laurel Hess and this is Comcast Newsmakers. Joining me now is Kim Homan, the Executive Director of the Michigan Land Bank. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for the invitation.
And the Michigan Land Bank sort of oversees all of the various 38, I believe, smaller land banks within the state of Michigan?
Yep, we currently authorize 38 county land banks and one City of Detroit land bank. We're the authorizing agency, and then we get out of their way and let them do really good things.
And those really good things involve taking over abandoned, foreclosed properties that are perhaps in blighted areas, or certainly not bringing in any tax dollars, and maybe even a public nuisance, and making them good, vibrant, vital members of our communities?
Absolutely. And in most cases, the county land banks do take on the tax foreclosed properties from the county treasurers that have not sold at auction, so that they have the chance to assemble them and get them ready for future development back into productive use.
And do what with them? So if these are properties that nobody wanted, how do you make them properties that somebody wants?
Well, a great example was the Neighborhood Stabilization program of a couple of years ago, where 12 city and county land bank partners actually acquired properties, redeveloped and renovated structures, built some new structures, did some demolition right within their communities.
So you're able to maybe take a property here, where there's no cohesiveness, and say, hey, now if we can get this whole big area, we can plan it and we can make something happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that for the benefit of the community, and it fits within every community has different plans. So the land banks are able to assist in those plans.
What have been the biggest reuses? Are you seeing most being redeveloped into residential again, or businesses, or we're hearing a lot about urban farming as well?
A lot about urban farming, and in some areas, especially the city of Detroit, there's been some great and very creative ideas for green spaces, everything from community gardens to I think some of our properties are now being used for a mushroom farm, to also being used as side lots. Neighbors have been buying our lots for $100 and expanding their yard and adding a playscape or adding their own garden. And churches have done some community gardens also. And
it's not just in the city of Detroit. No. Obviously, a big focus. That's what when you read the headlines, because some of the more exciting projects are taking place there. But everywhere throughout the state of Michigan, there is vacant and abandoned land that you are trying to reclaim and reuse.
Absolutely. From partial subdivisions midway up in the state to larger tracts of land that were never developed. To even just little strips of land here and there where we can find opportunities to assemble them and give the community more options.
One of the benefits I understand from maybe a developer that might not necessarily walk in and buy that property even if they wanted it, because it's 15 years with tax arrears and there's a lien on it, and they're not going to pay all those back taxes. Once it becomes the land bank property, some of that goes away, and it makes it a little easier to pave the way for them to come in and start from scratch.
Yes, generally when a property is foreclosed and then goes into a land bank, there won't be any of those liens or taxes. We also have an extra tool, an expedited quiet title, where we can remove clouds on title, and thus developers, especially if they have a financing tool, they're going to need clear title to be able to invest in that property. So that's another tool that land banks have that they can assist in these developers.
All right, wonderful. Wonderful program, and lots of good things happening throughout the state. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Today's Comcast Newsmaker was Kim Homan, the Executive Director of the Michigan Land Bank.